I found this large clear glass vessel lying in a stainless steel sink in an outbuilding on an old farm. It is shaped like a horizontal cylinder with several short necks and threaded openings for hoses or pipes. Does anyone know what this item is? What you found is a receiving jar from a pipeline milking machine. In a dairy parlor, this heavy glass vessel sits between the milking units and the bulk storage tank. Milk from the cows flows through hoses into the jar, where the farmer can see the quantity and check for foam, clots, or contamination. From there, a pump sends the milk onto the main tank for cooling and storage. Receiving jars like this were standard equipment on many farms in the mid-20th century. I received this small wooden item as a gift. It looks a bit like a shallow bowl with a pointed end and a leather loop. Does anyone know what this could be? What you've received is a kuksa, a traditional Sami wooden mug carved from a burl on a tree trunk. Makers usually use birch burls because the twisted grain makes the cup strong and resistant to cracking. After carving, the kuksa is boiled in linseed oil so it becomes durable and water-resistant, yet still light in the hand. Before first use, people in the Nordic region pour strong coffee into the cup and let it sit, then rub the inside with the grounds to give it a dark, glossy finish. To keep a kuksa in good shape, it is best to rinse it with plain water and avoid dish soap or strong alcohol. I found this large wooden object in the attic of an old house. It is shaped like a tall cone with a handle sticking out of the side, another handle on top, and a metal band around the base. Does anyone know what this object is and what its purpose was? What you found is an antique oak battering ram, used by firefighters and sometimes by police in the late 1800s. It is essentially a heavy oak log with turned handles and iron bands, built to smash through doors in a single hit during fire rescues or raids. Before use, it would be soaked in water to add weight, slow charring in a fire, and keep the iron bands tight. Compared with kicking a door 2 or 3 times, using the battering ram was faster and safer because it reduced the risk of gunfire from inside. I found this small metal mug while going through some old silverware. The underside is stamped International Silver Company. I cannot find anything about this exact piece online, and I am curious what it was originally made for. What you have found is a small silver-plated cream pitcher from the International Silver Company, probably made in the 1960s. The 8-ounce mark on the base shows the capacity, and the sturdy shape matches the hotel and restaurant ware that International Silver produced in huge quantities. The company was based in Meriden, Connecticut, which was known as the Silver City, thanks to its massive mills and worldwide export of silver-plated housewares. When decorative silver began to fall out of fashion, the firm shifted into industrial and auto parts manufacturing, but kept the old name alive. I found this metal tool while going through a box of hand tools from my late father-in-law. It's about 8 inches long, has sharp edges along the shaft. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a precision reamer, a metalworking tool designed to enlarge an existing hole by a very small amount while producing a smooth and accurate finish. The long fluted shaft with sharp edges removes only a thin layer of material, and the markings on the body show its size and taper. This tool uses a Morse taper, a system invented by Stephen Morse in New Bedford, Massachusetts in the 1860s. The Morse taper became a worldwide standard and allowed tools like this to fit securely into drill presses, lathes, and milling machines in factories and workshops across North America and Europe. I found this small metal device in a wallet-like case labeled P/51A Precision. It is marked Made in West Germany and has a textured metal plate with a strange little mechanism mounted on top. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a precision dotting tool for technical drawing from the Excello line of drafting instruments. The teardrop plate carries a mechanism with a large serrated wheel and small numbered pattern wheels that set the spacing of the dots. A pen point clamps to the bar, and when you roll the wheel along a T-square or straight edge, the point bounces to create a clean, dotted line used in engineering drawings. This model appeared in the 1926 Dietzgen catalog for $5.15, and sets like it were used in places such as the physics department at Kenyon College, stored in a leather-covered, velvet-lined case. I found this unusual glass object, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. It has a rounded, decorated base, a tall neck with a wooden knob on top, a chain that holds a small stopper, and a long, narrow spout that tapers to a fine point. What you have found is a parron, a traditional Spanish wine pitcher that first appeared in Catalonia and later spread throughout Spain. Its rounded body holds the wine, and the long, narrow spout lets a thin stream be poured straight into the mouth from a distance, so several people can share the same vessel without touching it with their lips. Parrons were common in homes until the middle of the 20th century and were filled with red wine, cava, or sweet Grenache. Today, they remain a cultural symbol in Spanish restaurants and wine bars, and the one you found is a decorative souvenir version from the late 1970s or early 1980s. I found this solid brass object that looks a lot like a cowbell, except there is no clapper inside, just some strange metal pieces across the open bottom, and a small pin on one side that spins freely. The piece is about 4 3/4 inches tall, 3 1/8 inches wide, and around 1 1/2 inches deep. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage brass match dispenser. A stack of matches would be loaded from the side by pulling out the rolling cartridge. Once it was filled and put back in place, the matches were pushed down by their own weight and presented one by one at the opening on the bottom, ready to be pulled out with your fingers. Similar brass dispensers were used in the early and middle 20th century in hotels, bars, and on ships, where they kept wooden safety matches dry, tidy, and within easy reach near a stove, fireplace, or smoking area. I found this small leather case made in England, and the inside has a set of narrow slots that look like they were designed to hold specific items. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage English men's jewelry case designed to hold cufflinks and tie clips. The long, narrow slots and round openings in the lid were made for pairs of cufflinks, while the small straps in the center kept a tie clip or collar bar in place. The deeper compartments below were used for rings or shirt studs. Cases like this were made in England in the mid-20th century by leather goods makers for businessmen who wanted to keep their dress accessories neat and protected while traveling. I found this wooden item that holds a mason jar on top and has a small sliding drawer underneath. There is a quarter-sized hole in the drawer, and when it is pushed all the way in, that hole lines up directly under the mouth of the jar. Does anyone know what this thing is used for? What you have found is a small wooden countertop dispenser, most likely meant for candies, nuts, or other small snacks stored in the mason jar on top. The jar works as a hopper, and when you slide the drawer all the way in, the quarter-sized opening sits directly under the mouth of the jar and fills by gravity. Pull the drawer back out and you get a single serving ready to pour into your hand. Simple dispensers like this were popular as home woodworking projects and as a decorative touch in country-style kitchens. I recently came across these long wooden and metal poles with different metal ends that look like tools. My mother found them bundled together at my late grandparents' house and has been trying to identify them. What you found is a set of rifle bore cleaning tools. These long rods are used with different attachments to scrub and wipe the inside of a gun barrel. 2 of them still carry the remains of wire brushes that scrape fouling from the bore, while the pieces with slotted ends are patch holders that grip a strip of cloth soaked in solvent or oil. The different brush and patch sizes match at least 3 rifle calibers, which means your grandparents kept tools for several firearms. I came across this heavy curved metal piece that my friend's dad has been using as a boat anchor. It has a cylindrical top with holes for a rope, some stamped numbers on the end, and a long wavy shaft made of solid metal. And he always thought it was some kind of part from a General Electric aerospace plant. What you found is the rotor from a progressive cavity pump, a type of industrial pump used in places such as General Electric plants. Inside the pump, this helical metal rotor turns within a rubber or metal stator and creates a series of small sealed cavities that push liquid forward in a smooth, steady flow. This design works very well with thick, abrasive, or delicate fluids that would damage or clog other pumps. Progressive cavity pumps are widely used in oil and gas work, food processing lines, and wastewater treatment plants. I recently bought a pool table, and it came with this extra game that I cannot identify. It includes a large red plastic cup and a set of 16 red numbered chips. some marked with digits and some spelled out in words. Does anyone know what this game is and how you are supposed to play it? What you bought is a Kelly pool set, also known as pea pool or pill pool. It was invented in Chicago in 1893 by Callistus Kelly Mulvaney and became very popular across the United States during the early and mid-20th century. The red cup is the shaker, and the numbered pieces are called peas. Each player secretly draws a number and tries to be the one who legally sinks the ball with that number. Kelly pool is played as a rotation game, so every shot has to start by hitting the lowest numbered ball on the table. Because it was closely linked to betting, it was banned in some places, including Montana, until 1964. I found this small brass object that is made of two pieces joined by a short wire. There are no letters or numbers stamped on it, only a small hook on the back of the medallion. Does anyone know what this item was used for? What you have found is an antique brass belt hook keychain dating to the mid-1800s. The decorative top plate would hook over the edge of a belt or waistband, while the hinged U-shaped loop hung below and held keys or other small items. Once the loop was closed, the key stayed secure but could be removed quickly when needed. Hardware like this was a practical, everyday accessory for men who carried multiple keys long before modern split rings and carabiners appeared. In the last video, I asked you to identify this small metal hammer. It's a brass hammer used for working with soft metals. Brass absorbs more of the impact than steel, which prevents marks or dents on the metal you're striking. I really appreciate everyone who shared their guesses in the comments. It helps the video reach more people and allows the channel to grow. Now, I want to invite you to identify another unusual object. This blue glass item is about 5 inches tall and has a small hole at the top. What do you think it was used for? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal the answer in the next video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and lets more people discover the channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.